Hi! Thank you to everyone who left comments on my What Do You Think About Queen Mary I video and also on social media. If you missed that video, I asked viewers to share what sprang to mind when I said Mary I. It was an interesting experiment and I'm going to share the results with you now. And Tim has created a word cloud of all the words used to describe Mary, so you can enjoy that too. I have to say I was pleasantly surprised by the results. 3 words came out top with 15 mentions each. And while bloody, as in Bloody Mary, was one of them, the other 2 were more sympathetic. Sad and tragic. Then we had abused with 14 mentions, Catholic and mistreated with 12 each, neglected with 11, misunderstood with 10, cruel, fanatic and zealous with 9 each, strong and victim with 8 each, brave and damaged with 7 each, bitter, complex, lonely and survivor with 5 each, loyal, pitied, traumatised, unhappy and unloved with 4 each, and angry, broken, determined, devout, rejected, religious, stubborn and tyrant with 3 each. A mixed bag, but on the whole sympathetic, I think. But why? That was the question that immediately sprang to my mind when I read these words. And it was something I discussed in a Zoom discussion call with those who signed up for my Discovering Mary I course, which starts properly in January. It was interesting to hear from participants whose history lessons at school had either glossed over Mary I completely or focused on her burnings, or whose lessons at school had been rather anti-Catholic, and so Mary was seen solely as a baddie and Elizabeth I as a Protestant saviour. Mary had been presented as Bloody Mary, a zealot and persecutor, while King Henry VIII has been bluff King Hal instead of horrible Henry, even though he had 2 of his wives executed and his dissolution of the monasteries saw awful executions and was a social disaster. And Elizabeth I was good Queen Bess instead of evil Elizabeth, who executed Mary Queen of Scots and persecuted priests and those who helped them. But it seems now that there's more sympathy for Mary. So what has changed? Well, we came to the conclusion that it's a combination of factors. Mary's rehabilitation by historians and biographies of her being more mainstream reading, TV series fleshing her out more, changes in education and views towards denominations, and more accessible resources on her, such as blog posts, videos, talks, etc. The Tudor series very much brought the younger Mary to life. We saw what she went through when her father set her mother aside. We saw how she was bullied by the king's counsellors, how she suffered mentally and physically from her ill treatment and turned to people like Eustace Chapuis, the imperial ambassador, who became like a father figure to her. Then, in the recent Star series, Becoming Elizabeth, we saw another sympathetic portrayal of Mary. She stole the show, in my opinion. She was a tough cookie, but a woman put under so much pressure and who even feared for her life and considered fleeing England. Viewers could see that there was far more to Mary than the burnings of Protestants in her reign. And non-fiction books by historians like Linda Porter, Anna Whitelock, Melita Thomas and David Loades have presented the real Mary. They've looked at her as a pampered princess, a neglected and rejected daughter, a young woman under immense pressure, a woman fearing for her life, a woman prepared to fight for her throne and who could rouse others to her cause, a queen who achieved much during her short reign, but who also had to cope with religious divisions and threats, a husband more interested in his territories on the continent, and her ill health. Blog posts, talks and videos flesh out the woman behind the Bloody Mary stereotype, and it's so good to see. Now, I must make it clear, I'm in no way condoning the truly awful burnings of her reign, her treatment of her Protestant subjects. But I like the way that she's now being presented as a three-dimensional historical person, and there's more balance in how she's presented today. By the way, I feel that Edward VI and Lady Jane Grey, or Queen Jane, would have been just as brutal and zealous given the chance. I find Mary I fascinating, and I'm so glad that more and more people are becoming interested in her and want to get behind the old labels and stereotypes. If you're one of those people, I'd love you to join me in my 12-day Discovering Mary I online event. It starts on the 16th of January 2023 and it's completely online, so open internationally, and you can join it from the comfort of your sofa, your armchair, or even your bed. It features talks and Q&A sessions with experts such as Dr. Linda Porter, Dr. Lauren Mackay, Dr. Alexander Sampson, Peter Stiffel, Melita Thomas, Joanna Strong, Gareth Russell, and little old me. It'll be a mix of pre-recorded video talks, live streams, chat room Q&A sessions and Zoom calls, and everything will be recorded and transcribed. We're so looking forward to bringing the real Mary I to life for you and being able to talk Tudor in real time. Tudor fun is really the best kind of fun, I think. I hope you can join me. I'll put the link in the description for you. I hope you can come. And Teasel thought she'd just join in. There's a cat down there. Teasel. She thought she'd just join in to say hello to you because it's been quite a while since she's been on camera, hasn't it? Yeah, there's a more exciting, a more interesting cat just on the floor, as you can see. She has not lost her cat addiction, have you, Teasel? See you soon.